I was raised in a Jewish home, and both my parents were Jewish, and I am, without question, committed to the Jewish values. You know, the basics. You know, you don't want to steal, you don't want to kill, you know, you don't want to lie, you don't want to take advantage of someone when they're down and out. Believe in, you know, giving back. The old concept of leaving 10% of your agricultural benefit, or what you reap, to the poor. I believe in giving back, charity, and probably one of the greatest values I believe in is something that we call tikkun olam, which is you come into the world as a servant, and your job is to leave it a better place than you came came in with. So you try and make it a better place. So those are my values. Yeah, recently we went through this restructuring. You know, the concept of you have to have the right people, the right bus, the right time, and so on and so forth. We believe strongly in that. And we're a company that's slow to terminate someone if they should be terminated. As our company's grown and skill sets are required to make our company more successful, or at least competitive with our competition, we try and train our people, but sometimes people, you know, just for whatever reason, aptitude or whatever, they don't make it. There's this gal, and she was just a great gal. She worked for us for over 10 years. She was so committed to so many of our core values, like customer service and how can I help you, and so on and so forth. And yet, as we evolved as a company, she just was not able to get to the next level. And so I was involved in actually with her termination. And when we terminate someone, it's really hard. I mean, we're a family business, so people are really family. And I remember sitting down with her, and she was crying about, you know, having to leave the company. And I spoke to her, and I said to her, you know, well, first I asked her some questions. I said, you know, what have you learned at this company? I mean, that you didn't have before. I mean, do you have some other skill sets that maybe you didn't have? And she listed a number of them. You know, she had some ERP experience and computer and so on and so forth, which was really. Sorry, I get choked up about some of this kind of stuff because it's difficult, but yet sometimes you have to do difficult things in business to see your company grow. But anyway, she listed these things, and then I listened to her very carefully, and I said, "You've got some amazing skill sets, and you learn them here, and you know we've grown. You know we've quadrupled in size, and there are small companies out there like we were when you first started. They're really going to help. You can really help them, you know, by going there, because that's the kind of company that she was perfect for, because she could then take some of those skill sets that we didn't have when we were, you know, 1/4 the size we were, and she could bring those to those people, and she's doing fine now, and we knew she would do fine, and yet it's really hard, you know, when you've worked with someone for 10 years, and I mean, you learn to love these people, and then you have to part ways. It can be tough. That helps. That story shares some of what you were asking for. Got this other gal who's a single mother and whatnot, and in the old building that we're in Bremen, Indiana. Above the offices was this two apartment thing, and the heating, and electrical, and everything was connected to the whole system, right? So, so my dad fixed this apartment up and whatnot, and would rent it, right? So he could get some rent. Well, you know, my dad, I mean, would rent the thing for $100 a month or $150 a month. I mean, when the going rate would be $600 anywhere else or more. And he just did that because he felt, you know, good about it. It was charity is really what it was. But my dad really believed in charity and to Kuno Olam, and I believe that those values stem from him, and I believe that he got a lot of those values from my grandparents and perhaps his grandparents. So, and I always say to people I talk to when I hire them, I say, you know, there's three parts to your life. There's you get to sleep a third of it. You get to work a third of it, and the rest of it is your free time, whether it's spent with family or whatever. And I said, so really you're awake for 2/3 of your life. And golly, you know, it better be, 1/3 of that is working, and it better be fun. You better enjoy it. Because if you don't, then you really need to go find a place where you do love what you do and enjoy what you do, because you spend so much time at it. And you read and you hear about all these stories of people who don't love what they do, who go to work, it's a grind for them. And for me, I'm so passionate about what I do and love what I do, that I just think to myself, how horrible would it be? And incidentally, I've worked in jobs prior to my coming into this family business that were like that for me. It was horrible. I mean, it was a grind. I didn't enjoy it. And so now that I've found, you know, this work that I do in my family business, I feel incredibly blessed and fortunate. And I hope that, you know, everybody that works with me feels that what they do at our company is a calling, if you will, like it is for me. That, you know, there could never ever be another place that they should be working at, because it just can't get any better than that this is nirvana, if you will. I mean, I'm stretching a little bit, but that's kind of our philosophy. And I think you can only create that environment if the leaders have a sense of some compassion. That's my belief. Yeah, I think if you don't have any soul in the company at the top, that the company, I mean, and I do believe there's a trickle-down effect. I do believe that, you know, the company is a manifestation of the leaders of the company. And I believe if the leaders of the company are staunch and reserved and don't have a soul, that the rest of the company will be that way. Because I also believe in the philosophy, you lead by example, and by leading by example, your company in some way, shape, or form is a manifestation of that example. Soul is spirit. Soul is your inner spirit, the leader's inner spirit, what they believe. It connects. Soul and core values are closely connected. The tough love aspect that you talked about in the beginning of the talk, that's something that didn't come naturally for us. You probably can sort of figure that out because of what I said about my father and the compassion. And yet, my brother and I, who were now the 4th generation running this company, we had to learn that tough love thing. I mean, there was a time not too long ago, within the last 10 years, our company nearly went bankrupt. And yet now we're doing extraordinarily well, thank God. And a good part of the reason why we were able to get through the challenges that we went through was because of tough love. It used to be that in the family business, when my dad worked in it, it didn't matter what your skill sets were, it didn't matter what your contributions were in the family business. If your last name was Brown, you all got paid the same amount of money. And that philosophy, while it may have worked in the 1920s through the 1950s, when maybe it was a little different environment economically in the United States, it doesn't work in the environment in the 1990s and here in the new century. And the reason why it doesn't is because if you're going to operate your company like a company, even though it's a family business, you have to do so with some of the modern day concepts in mind, because other companies are doing the same thing, so you're in competition with them. And what was difficult was for us to tell some of the family members, look, you're valuable, we love you, but based on your contribution and your skill sets, the market pays this. And I regularly talk to my brother who's younger than me, and I tell him, you know, you're the president of our company, and you need to make more than me, because that's the way companies work. Presidents make more than vice presidents. I'm the COO now, but nevertheless, I'm the second in command. And he struggles with that, and yet he knows that I think that's the proper way. And so I shout that out to all the family business leaders out there, that, you know, you have to make sure that if you're going to succeed in the family business, recognize you're competing with maybe other businesses that are families. And if you're going to retain your top talent, even if their last name is the same as yours, you need to make sure they're compensated based on the market value of what they contribute to the company.